Graduands, guests and colleagues, it is my enormous pleasure to welcome you to graduation. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket because you'll be called to the stage in this order. If you discover that these do not match, our team of stewards can help you locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you'll be invited by the stewards to stand, to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make your way up the stairs. Please don't wait until they've passed across the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you have still graduated. But don't try to go back because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the graduation information desk in the exhibition centre where you collected your gown and tickets 30 minutes after the ceremony to collect your parchment. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats, instructions will be given, and we will escort you to the nearest exit. As graduates, you will join an international community of over 100,000 York alumni. The York Alumni Association holds many free events each year designed to help you make connections with other alumni across the world and boost your career prospects. To ensure that the Alumni Association is able to contact you about these events, please register your contact details at their stand in the exhibition centre, where you can also have group photos taken and collect your graduation pin. In April, you will receive an email about a national survey, the destinations of leavers from higher education. The survey focuses on a specific date in April and asks about your activities on that date. Please take a few minutes to complete the survey and let us know what you're doing. The results help us provide the right support for current students and make sure we offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. Please could you all now turn off mobile phones, and will you all now please stand.
My lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome this morning to the historic and ancient and beautiful city of York and to this great university. I declare open this congregation for the conferment of awards.
Chancellor, it's an honour and a privilege to introduce our honorary graduand, Edmund de Waal. Edmund de Waal is one of the world's greatest potters. More so, he's achieved what so many of his predecessors have only dreamt of, to have shattered the barrier that has kept ceramics aside from the rest of the art world. His work sits as comfortably in a house as in a museum or in an art gallery. While approaching his métier with the profoundest intellectual seriousness, he's remained true to the physical immediacy of pottery, both in its making and appreciation, its appeal to the sense of touch, its essential humanity. Edmund made his first pot aged 5 and was instantly hooked by the tremendous plasticity of clay. One pot would not and did not suffice. Thousands have followed in his quest for the soul of the material. He was guided early on by Geoffrey Whiting, who believed in repetition, in the disciplined production of quality domestic ware, true to the ethos of the most celebrated potter of modern times, Bernard Leach. Edmund made pots with Whiting at school, then deferred his place at Cambridge University to work full-time with him. It was at this moment that he made his first visit to Japan, the start of a direct encounter with East Asian aesthetics, rather than, as most had done, through the writings of Leach. The profound consequences of this experience took a while to work through. Edmund's 1997 book on Leach exposed his deep knowledge of the East to be a myth. It was an intellectually bold move for a historian of ceramics, a fundamentally iconoclastic one for a potter steeped in the Leach tradition. After graduation, Edmund set up his own studio in Herefordshire and went about, as he has described it himself, quote, making dishes, unglazed, rough oatmeal brown on the outside and green on the inside, pots to disappear into the landscape. No one bought them. The need to reduce costs drove him to Sheffield and another studio, still keeping alive the flame of the solitary maker, humbly producing beautiful objects for everyday use. 2 turning points followed. The first, a switch of materials from stoneware to porcelain. The second, another visit to Japan, this time on a language scholarship. Those who have read Edmund's extraordinary award-winning book, The Hare with Amber Eyes, will recall this as its starting point. The author in Japan, learning Japanese, researching Japanese craft traditions, and spending afternoons with his great-uncle, hearing stories about his family, looking at and holding the netsuke, the collection of tiny Japanese sculptures, all that remained of his family's substantial art collections. Returning to the UK in 1993, Edmund set himself up in London this time. Here he transformed the repetitions of the Leach idiom into subtle groupings of pots. The emphasis on the domestic turned into delicate arrangements on shelves or in cabinets, and the faith in the material became an obsessive engagement with the white of porcelain. These works caught the eye not only of collectors and fellow artists, but curators and museum directors. In 1999, Edmund had his first solo exhibition in a public museum at High Cross House in Devon. More than an exhibition, it was an intervention, one which deployed his pots right across the house in dialogue with its architecture. This practice has continued apace and unabated. Edmund has since worked with some of the most important museums here and abroad, installing his own work and also curating collections, from Chatsworth House to the V&A, Kettle's Yard to the Royal Academy, where his recent exhibition, simply titled White, met with much acclaim. In his highly informative and hugely stimulating history of 20th century ceramics, Edmund invites his readers to consider ceramics either as a single discipline or as a series of disciplines sharing a material. Clay is obviously not unfamiliar to the architect or to the sculptor. Edmund's achievement has been to go far beyond such obvious affinities, though. He has brought the sounds of his vessels into imaginative alignment with music, and the surfaces and spacing of his pots with words on a page. His way of working is resolutely focused, the ball of clay on the wheel, an interior space shaped by the pressure of the hand, the pot placed with others of its kind, and yet is able to communicate so widely, speaking to us intimately about our relationship to things. His best-selling The Hare with Amber Eyes is not only a personal memoir concerning loss, it's a deep meditation on how objects tell stories and on what keeps us alive, a trait shared by his latest book, The White Road, which equally connects a globe-trotting history to the most personal of thoughts. Both in works and in words, Edmund has allowed us to see not just the pot in the world, but the whole world in a pot. So as an artist and writer of world standing, it's with great pleasure that I present to you Edmund de Waal for the degree of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa.
By virtue of the powers vested in me by the University of York, I hereby have great pleasure in conferring upon you the degree of Doctor of the University, Honoris Causa.
That is extraordinary. It's a bit like listening to your obituary. But happier, I have to say. I'm so privileged to be among you today and to be part of your community, my community, our community. I make pots and I write books, and I do two things and they interweave together. I've done these things all my life and I intend to keep on doing them. But when I was thinking about what this meant, this particular moment meant with you, about to receive your degrees, I was thinking about the extraordinary motto of this extraordinary university, which is in limine sapientiae, on the threshold of wisdom, of learning. And that wonderful phrase, in limine, on the threshold, seems to me of such significance, because the threshold, the liminal moment, the moment of pause between going in and going out, is entirely what this is about. We've worked for so long, and now we leave through a door towards something that we don't know. Liminality, being on the threshold, is a place of extraordinary ambiguity and extraordinary challenge and beauty. It's also a moment of reflection. And for me, as someone who makes things and tries to put them on the threshold of all kinds of places, installations for the threshold of the Victoria and Albert Museum, an installation I've just made for a new building, humanities building in Cambridge, so that all the cross academics, as they go in to argue, have to cross over a buried vitrine of porcelain on their way to their meetings. Thresholds matter. And so as I join your community, I just want to say what an enormous privilege it is to share this liminal moment with you. And thank you very much for this extraordinary honor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble Eonomy will perform Never Weather Beaten Sail by Hubert Parry, followed by Words by Anders Edenroth.
Never weather beaten sail, 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 never we Possession of the beggar and the king. Everybody, every day, you and I, we all can say words, regarded as a complicated tool, created by man, implicated by mankind. Words, obsession of the genius and the fool. Everybody, every day, everywhere, in every way. Oh, words, find them, you can use them, say them, you can hear them. Write them, you can read them, love them, feel them. Words transmitted as befitted from the start, received by all, and we're sentenced to a life with words. Impression of the stupid and the smart. Everybody, every day, you and I, we all can say words. Inside your head can come alive as they said, softly, loudly, modestly, and proudly. Words, expression by the living and the dead. Everybody, every day, everywhere, in every way. Oh, words, find them, you can use them, say them, you can hear them. Write them, you can read them, love them, feel them.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education. For research in greening the A-level chemistry curriculum in Malta, Mario Fenech Caruana. For research in classroom interaction at university, Golebamang Galegane. For research in reading and reception of Renaissance poetry, Amanda Naylor. For research in teaching assistance and foundation degree study, Paul Smith. For the degree of Master of Arts by Research in Education, Mark McDonough. For the degree of Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics for English Language Teaching, Chi Kwan Ip. Na Wu. Ting Ju. For the degree of Master of Arts in Applied Linguistics for Language Teaching, Mihoko Bitu. Rosalva Maud Isa. For the degree of Master of Arts in Education, Nuo Chen. Yiliang Chen. Jihao Feng. Lu Yao Jiang. Jing Jin. Xinyang Sun. Lu Wang. Corinne Wilkinson. Tian Yu. Xiaoshu Zhu. For the degree of Master of Arts in Global and International Citizenship Education, Juoya Ho. Emiko Ishida. Miao Saito. Shi-Si Zhu. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages, Emily Feng Chen. Parichat Chiabliem. Shuiheng Ge. Yizi He. Yonghei Ye. Xuan Jiang. Yang Yi Jiang. Bingpeng Li. Dan Li. Dantong Li. Yanru Li. Jen Li. Jiayi Liu. Shuman Lu. Meng Tzi Luo. Yuan Luo. Tianying Ma. Siyu Qi. Yuting Tiang. Sha Tiu. Ting Ren. Lingmin Sha. Junyan Shang. Yun Shi. Jiaxing Song. Meijing Sun. Panalin Trenikom. Henrika van Berkel. Esther Vicence Manzanedo. Heidi Wang. Jiyai Wang. Lingfeng Wang. Yu Wang. Shueli Wang. Yidzi Wang. Yuting Wang. Yingling Wei. Jiameng Xie. Yan Xie. Donyang Yan. Yating Yan. Xinyi Yang. Wangting Jiang. Mi Zhang. Mo Zhang. Siki Zhang. Xinwei Zhu. Xiamei Zhu. For the degree of Master of Arts in Teaching English to Young Learners, Ninka Rizebosch-Hulscher. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Educational Studies, Bethany Layton Best.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in English for research in poetry and memory in the Second World War, Sebastian Owen. For research in the vulnerable body in South African literature, Imke van Heerden. For the degree of Master of Arts in Culture and Thought after 1945, Nicola Bailey. George Bickes. Sarah Farrington. Chantel Garbett. Natalia Zomba. Joseph Woffenden Harrison. Jessica Winnan. For the degree of Master of Arts in Cultures of Empire, Resistance and Post-Coloniality, Emma Crowley. Holly Walmsley. For the degree of Master of Arts in 18th Century Studies, Representations and Contexts, 1750 to 1850, Joshua Dite. Edward Greenwood. Laura Griffin. Elizabeth Oliver. Jimmy Price. For the degree of Master of Arts in English Literary Studies, Carlotta Mareka de Wald. Heather Hind. Richard Lukey. Naomi Poppel. Zander Ryan. Ilana Sine. Bruce Whitworth. For the degree of Master of Arts in Film and Literature, William Abbas. Sophie Kennelly. Thomas Lubeck. Megan Olahead. Stephen Roberts. Joseph Rollins. Danielle Simmert. Caitlin Walker. For the degree of Master of Arts in Medieval Literatures, Charlotte Blackmore. Katrina Macmillan. Giacomo Valeri. Jennifer Ward. Francesca Woolner. For the degree of Master of Arts in Modern and Contemporary Literature and Culture, Louisa Hahn. Alexandra Osborne. Rebecca Parmenter. Richard Seary. For the degree of Master of Arts in 19th Century Literature and Culture, Eleanor Dumbill. Michael Upshur. Jenny Waters. Victoria White. For the degree of Master of Arts in Poetry and Poetics, Lucinda Curzon. For the degree of Master of Arts in Renaissance Literature, 1500 to 1700, Bethan Davies. Ellen Sundermeyer. Lee Whitley. For the degree of Master of Arts in Romantic and Sentimental Literature, 1770 to 1830, Kaylee Williams. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in English, Rebecca Anastasi. Eva Brock. Bradley Copper. Rosie Kelly.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in History. For research in education in early modern English grammar schools, Emily Hanson. For research in languages of power in the English Reformation, Christine Cannock. For the degree of Master of Arts in Contemporary History and International Politics, Alexandra Foster. Anatoly Vataman. For the degree of Master of Arts in Contemporary History and International Politics, Agritat, awarded posthumously, Daniel Pinfold. This award is being collected by Daniel Pinfold, John Pinfold, Daniel's father. For the degree of Master of Arts in Early Modern History, Amy Crichton. Rachel Cutler. Phoebe Hobbs. Ilana Kudelka. Momo Kazazawa. Lucas Norton. Bethany Richardson. For the degree of Master of Arts in Medieval History, Colleen Campbell. Jessica Clark. William Greeley. Catherine Rose Hailstone. Toby King. Elizabeth Richardson. Douglas Rooney. Nicholas Thomas. Catherine White. Tim Wingard. For the degree of Master of Arts in Modern History, Oliver Bassel. Lauren Batterson. Sky Duthie. Ben Yarb. Eric Pacheco. Dougie Parker. Samantha Peel. David Washington. For the degree of Master of Arts in Public History, Harriet Beadnell. Sarah Cameron. Laura Chapman. Joanna Clarkson. Thomas Crashley. Katie Gilmore. Daniel Johnson. Jennifer McGarvey. Sophia Theos. Alexander Townsend. For the degree of Master of Arts in Renaissance and Early Modern Studies, Elizabeth Atkinson. Liviu Tanasiacha. Hannah Tomlin. For the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History and Philosophy, James Goddard.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in History of Art. For research in British battle painting 1854 to 1918, Dorothy Knott. For the degree of Master of Arts in History of Art, Madeline Bowden. Rosie Bradford. Martha Cattell. Jodie Evans. Rosalind Every. Ursula Horsfall. Rebecca Knott. Helen Knowles. Kiveli Lignut Samantanani. Jennifer May. Una Murphy. Vicky Pugh. For the degree of Master of Arts in History of Art with a specialization in Architectural History and Theory, Aliki Bouzia. Annika Helmskog. For the degree of Master of Arts in History of Art with a specialization in British history, British art, Robert Wilkes. For the degree of Master of Arts in Stained Glass Conservation and Heritage Management, Maxine Allen. Amy Dix. Merlin Griffiths. Zoe Harrigan. Megan Stacey. Tom Bowden. Emma Wolfrey.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Linguistics, for research in negative WH quantifiers in Cantonese, Man Ki Lee. For research in instruction and L2 acquisition of English articles, Elaine Lopez. For research in counter-expectation in Thai, Upson Tabilapakul. For the degree of Master of Arts in Comparative Syntax and Semantics, David Warren. For the degree of Master of Arts in Linguistics, Lorna Mitchell. Sarah Tasker. For the degree of Master of Arts in Psycholinguistics, Oksana Alyanina. James Dibb. Sarah Mesterton Gibbons. Valentina Persici. For the degree of Master of Arts in Sociolinguistics, Andy Law. Grace Wood. For the degree of Master of Science in Forensic Speech Science, Cyril Cleven. Hannah Hedegaard. Patricia Lorenzo Totosa. Sula Ross. James Tompkinson. Catherine Weinberg. Shiran Zhang.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Medieval Studies. For research in French manuscripts from St Albans Abbey in the 13th century, Catherine Handel. For research in the development of 14th century London armourers' crafts, Brad Kirkland. For research on text and image in René d'Anjou's Livre des Tournois, Justin Sturgeon. For the degree of Master of Arts in Medieval Studies, Kate Bolter. Alana Bennett. Isaac Boothroyd. Georgina Briggs. Hannah Farnsworth. Lika Kamphus. Ellen Knopf. Katia McKeever Willis. Daniel Morgan. Emily Nelson. Emma Newman. Beverly Parish. Elsa Price. Fabienne Schwitzer. Michelle Stitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now also formally confer awards on all of those graduands who have chosen to have their awards conferred in absentia. Thank you very much. Please let me start by repeating the welcome that I gave at the very beginning to all of our graduating year of 2016. To all of you who, as family, as parents, as children, and as supporters have joined us here in the auditorium at the University of York this morning. Many of you I know travelling very significant distances to be here to support our graduating class. So welcome on behalf of the whole community of the university. But let me also start with a confession. I'm a brand new Chancellor. I'm in the second day of gainful employment. I'm still doing work experience as a Chancellor, and I'm still struggling to understand. So please forgive all the mistakes so far and all the ones that I'm just about to make in the speech. By the way, during my life, I have sat figuratively in every part of the auditorium as a nervous undergraduate, as a postgraduate, as a parent 3 times, and then 2 more as postgraduates, as a member of the academic staff, as somebody conferring degrees. And I've seen it from all angles, and I cannot remember a word of what the presiding officer said in their speech. So I'm conscious that today I'm not going to inflict permanent harm on anybody by virtue of the advice that I give. But can I say I'm here as Chancellor in succession to Greg Dyke. Greg is very well known in this country as the former Director General of the BBC and currently as the Chairman of the Football Association. And indeed, the memory of Greg came across us yesterday as an honorary degree was given to Roy Hodgson, the current manager of the English football team, in the hope that this would boost England's chances in Euro 2016. The imprimatur of the University of York can certainly do no harm in that direction. And I would just like to pay tribute to Greg. He did 11 years as Chancellor. He was a graduate of this university, and he has been magnificent in spreading the word about York across the world, and personally to me has been immensely supportive. But I'm still, I guess, a bit like the young graduate who went to his first day in employment in a supermarket as a trainee management cadet, and he walked into the supermarket, and the manager came across to him beaming and handed him a broom. And the young guy said, "Well, look, I'm sorry, I'm actually a graduate." And the manager said, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry." He said, "I didn't know that. Look, give it back to me and I'll show you how it works." So, in preparing these remarks, I have to say I've done quite a bit of research. I spoke to a group of graduates of the University of York and asked them how they would go about preparing for a major research paper. And I've taken their advice literally to heart. I didn't start until late last night. I opened a couple of bottles, I watched some movies, I did some social media, and eventually panicked, got out the black coffee, and worked through the night and tried to piece something together in impeccable order, ready for submission to a cynical and critical crowd this morning. So please forgive me if I've broken any of the sacred rules of the University of York. But the other question that continues to puzzle me, and I know is puzzling you, is how on earth was I chosen for this job? And it comes back to me because I think I can get the lesson from the job for which the government approached me 4 years ago, which was to chair what is now NHS England. And the story goes like this, that I only discovered this later, by the way, that they originally approached a man called Alan Milburn, who had been the health secretary under the Tony Blair Labour government. And on first approach to Alan Milburn, who, by the way, now is Chancellor of the University of Lancaster, which I believe is somewhere outside Yorkshire, but with which this university is in triumphant competition. But anyway, Alan Milburn's response to the approach apparently was, "Do I look as if I've got the word mug written across my forehead?" And these civil servants thought about this for some weeks and came to the conclusion that he didn't have the word mug written across his forehead, and therefore they needed to find somebody who did. Which is when, I'm very grateful to say, the phone started to ring on my desk. So, having been seduced into that extraordinary role, I now find coming to the University of York welcome relief, for which many thanks, but to have the honour of participating in the affairs of two of the country's great institutions is truly humbling. So I wanted also this morning to pay particular thanks on behalf of the graduating class to the staff, to the administrative staff, to the technicians, to all of those who make a university work, but also to the academic staff so well represented here today, to those who have supervised the research papers and the theses, who have given you the support and who have enabled you actually to be present today in person at this ceremony. And as a special reward for the staff, by the way, and for some parents, we sit them at this point where they uniquely can observe one of the great engineering triumphs of the 21st century, which is the invention of high-heel shoes. Now, I've been at other universities, by the way, where money has changed hands on the platform as various pairs of heels have walked across uncertainly to the other end. And I would just like today to congratulate the graduating class on not having fallen foul of that. It brings to mind, actually, the story of a graduation ceremony where a young man, rather boisterous, was coming across the stage and coming along the platform, waving to his friends and family in the audience, when suddenly he fell right out into a trapdoor and disappeared from sight. And everything went quiet in the auditorium until somebody heard his mother speak up and say, "It's just the stage he's going through." The highest award a university can confer is that of an honorary degree. To some, it looks as if certain people are escaping the rigors of research and training and education for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. 7 years, by the way, was the record I heard this morning on the platform. But the purpose of an honorary degree is twofold. One, it is genuinely to recognize exceptional achievement and to ensure that those who contribute so much to society, as all of our honorary graduands have this year, are recognized by an institution such as this. But the second purpose, actually, I always believe, is to inspire the rest of us, to realize what the human being is capable of doing, and to be able to bring such inspiring people into this auditorium, and for the rest of us to learn about their careers, their contributions, and to learn from those careers and contributions how we might better disport ourselves for the future. So Edmund de Waal's celebration with us this morning of his own life and career is truly remarkable. Those of us who have read The Hare with the Amber Eyes will know what an intimate story this is, both of a person and of their family and of their history and of their craft, and how well, in his comments this morning, he was able to weld all of those elements together. So I'm delighted that we have been able to honour him this morning. The state of universities is a topic of constant comment in the media and elsewhere. It's worth recording, I think, that the world's universities are probably the most stable and almost unchanging institutions anywhere. Some of our oldest universities in the world are 1,000 years old. 2 in this country are 800 or so years old and have always had the status of a world-class institution. The University of York, at 53 years old, has managed to chase those institutions and develop itself that status of a world-class institution. Nobody here today could have overlooked the proportion of our graduating class who come from outside the UK, who have been attracted to York, not by the climate, but by all the other wonderful qualities of warmth and generosity of the Yorkshire character, but have been attracted to York by the outstanding reputation of this university and the academic staff who serve it and who drive research. The other great feature that appeals to me about the University of York is its ability, which is sometimes less well realized in the older institutions, its ability to be agile. And to be agile in the 21st century means being able to dissolve some of those historical divisions between the ancient classifications of knowledge, what we call the disciplines, and they evolved down into the schools and into the faculties, into the departments. That was an organization of knowledge which suited very well Victorian England and possibly much of the 20th century, but as we grapple with these seemingly insoluble problems of global conflict and global climate change, and of course the problem now affecting our future thinking about health of populations, which is antimicrobial resistance and the next regime of antibiotics, we know that individual disciplines are not going to be able to provide the answers. We need to, for example, to combine computing power and mathematics with the ancient disciplines around biology and medicine to provide solutions. We will move into a post-genomics world in which we're able to profile the genomic picture of every human being, in which we're going to be able to personalize the way in which medicines are designed and applied, the way in which we anticipate we can predict and detect at a much earlier stage indicators of disease and provide treatments that can prevent rather than patch and repair once the damage has been done. Nobody else can do this. Big corporations can't do it, big governments can't do it. Only universities possess that universality of knowledge and that ability to draw it together and to promote changes that will improve the lot of mankind. So forgive me for being an advocate of the notion of universities and also for being a fierce critic of any movement towards suppressing freedom of speech in universities. Because one of the universal constants since the 10th century has been the autonomy of the institutions to lead their own path and the autonomy of academics and students within institutions to do as they wish within the limits of law. Protest and dissent should be fundamental activities in a university, and also the ability to offend others. Not many of us in this room would pass the test of not ever having offended others without being suppressed in our ability to express views and opinions on campus. So please, going back to my earlier comment, you won't remember a thing I've said once you've left the room, but believe in universities and believe in the pride that your degree today from York instills in you and instills in us, and your success in the world will reflect on the quality of this university, as our success in the future will reflect on the quality of your degree. So it's an interdependent relationship, and we're immensely proud of you today. What I'd like to do now is to express, on everybody's behalf, some thanks. I've already expressed my personal thanks, and I'm sure those of everybody in the room, to the staff, the academic staff, but I'd like to extend them also to that team that make these ceremonies possible. Because it's not just a ceremony in which we award a degree, it's actually a celebration. And this requires a great deal of hard work, and I would like actually to thank everybody who's brought us here today and made the proceedings run so smoothly. Secondly, Anonymy, that choir of students that came here earlier and sang so beautifully. You know, that was technically extremely difficult work, singing in close harmony with every voice closely attuned to every other voice, and with the prospect that any minor failure in any one of those voices would have been immediately audible to every one of us. And it was carried off meticulously well. So please, will you actually join me in giving a round of applause to Anonymy? So, on behalf of the whole of the University of York, I would like again to extend our congratulations to the graduating class, and I'm going to ask everybody else in the auditorium, please would you stand? Cheering is allowed, but join me in congratulating our graduates of 2016. So please stay standing because we're not quite over yet. One of the exciting things about this ceremony is that many of our graduates have come from abroad. It's not been possible for their families to join them, the distances and the costs being such as they are, but we are live streaming the event this morning, and I imagine families are watching this abroad, and if not, then there will be a record on our website for them to see. So what I would quite like to do is to invite our graduating class to stand up, to thank those who are in the auditorium, but also the wider audience who will see them and would have witnessed the ceremony. Please, your thanks and gratitude, and you may cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony for this morning. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hereby declare the ceremony for the conferment of awards to be closed. Thank you.